Now, this you really need to understand what are the 5 stages that most traders is going to experience, and you need to identify which stage exactly you are in. So from there onwards, you might be able to know what should you do and how do you progress. So along the way, we'll let you know exactly what you need to do and how do you progress to the next stage. Now, let's start with the first 5 stages most traders experience. Now, I believe majority of you are traders because whoever follow us, I believe you already started with your futures trading, or at least you already attended some of the classes. You know what is futures, and you will know how to progress. Now, we are not going to cover some basic topic, but sooner or later, if we see that there's a demand into a basic topic, we'll start to cover. But for us, we are going to cover some things that we are assuming that you're already in the trading environment. So we'll cover those topics that related to trading environment. Now, we have 5 stages for those traders to experience. Just guess what is the first stage. If you're able to guess, you're very good, because different definition of stages now is in terms of monetary terms. So if you can guess what is the first stage, you just need to type out. Then we will see how many of you successfully guessing it. What is the first stage? Vision not clear? Is it? Is it clear or not? Many of you, can you hear us? Can you see us? Or can you hear clearly? Can you see clearly? Any issue? Is it our problem? Today is raining. Today the whole day raining. I'm not quite sure is it impacting or not, because the whole day is raining. I think in KL, some of the states, they rain since this afternoon. Can you see clearly the slide? Can or not? Now, how many of you managed to guess what is the first stage? Do you all manage to guess? Let me see. Anyone manage to guess? Because we're using the same to see. What can you see clearly?
So far my side is okay. The quality is 720 already. Yeah.
Maybe different because you see nowadays everyone is sitting at home. Sometimes you might experience a latency in your internet, so it's very different so maybe you can see what you can do with your internet, or it might not be our problems, but it might be our problems as well. So along the way, if you can't hear us, you can't see the visual, etc., you can just type in and you just let us know. Now we are going to start with the first stage. Okay, or some of you, Chris Chang, say you can see clearly. Okay, hopefully that everyone is clear about it. Now, first stage is making losses. Now, along the way, we will let you know what kind of stages that you're going to experience. And first, we are going to see all the stage. At least you identified yourself which stage you are in. Then subsequently, we'll proceed from that. Now, second stage is reducing losses. And the third stage is break even. Break even meaning that some trade you are having profit, some trade you are losing money, and some of the trade in net you are not making, you're not losing, either one. Now, fourth stage is making little profit. You're making profit, but making little profit. And the final stage. Subsequently, we still have another stage, but the final stage in this discussion is about consistent profit. Now, I give you 10 seconds. You just need to identify yourself, which stage you are currently in. I repeat my question. You just need to type 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Now, you don't need to copy other people. You don't need to bother about other people, how they view about you. You just need to put in your own stage. Honestly answer this question. Meaning, if you are currently at stage 1, you just put 1. If you are currently at stage 2, if you believe, you don't need to prove it to anyone. If you believe that you are at stage 2, you just put 2. If you believe that currently you are stage 3, you just put 3. If you are believe that you currently at stage 4, you just need to put 4, and vice versa. If you are believe that you are currently at stage 5, you put 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I need to identify this all that are having at stage 5. You just need to put 5, 5, 5, 5. You don't need to worry about it. You just need to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Either way. So I give you sometimes about 5 to 10 seconds while I'm drinking the water. Then you just need to identify yourself, which stage are you currently in. Identifying your own in which stage is very important, because once you identify yourself, you know how to move or how to progress to the next stage. Later stage, we are going to explain to you how do you progress, what kind of things that you need to know, what kind of challenges you're going to face, with, what kind of common mistakes that you're going to experience throughout the stages. So identify yourself or understanding which stage you are currently in is very, very important. We can see some of you, you are stage 4, very good. So Bing Fun, you are currently at stage 4. With Alex Fu. Alex Fu is at stage 5. Well, very, very good. Now, Kokwan, we have at stage 1, is very good. Majority of you, we have Yung, Tommy, Shasindran, Terry, Teddy, you are at stage 2, very good. We are Ken at stage 1. It doesn't matter which stage you are in, no worries about it. We are going to explain to you how do you progress. So first thing, even you dare not answer or you dare not comment, don't worry about it, but you need to identify, meaning you write it down currently which stage you are in. Either you are at stage 1, stage 2, or you're currently at stage 3, stage 4, or stage 5. Because every stage, you experience different situation, you experience different challenges. You need to understand if you're in this stage, how do you progress to the next stage, and what you need to do so that you are able to progress to the next stage. So you need to be very honest in answering this question. You see, if you are not honest in answering this question, it's very difficult for you to understand. No worries. Now we're going to start with stage 1, making losses. Now, for those who identify yourself in stage 1, you're not lonely. Trust me, you're not lonely. Any of us, for those who are experiencing stage 4 or currently you are stage 5, right? We are all experiencing stage 1 before. I repeat my statement. All of us definitely experienced stage 1 before. None of us will never experience stage 1. Stage 1 is a must. Now, I'll give you a layman example. When you start to learn how to walk, or you start learn how to cycle, I believe definitely you have fallen before. Am I correct? That's a very common situation. So making losses is part and parcel of your whole trading journey. So if you never experience this stage, this is some things that we are going to worry more. I repeat, you did not hear wrongly. If you never experience stage 1, we are more worried. That's why sometimes, especially our graduate or some of our participants, when they attended our classes and subsequently they reported to us, they make a lot of money, right? There's time that we worry a lot, seriously. Because when they directly making a huge profit without experiencing any losses, we are going to worry more. Subsequently, we will explain to you why. Why when you are in that stage, we are going to worry more. Now, first thing, when you are at the first stage, which is making losses, you don't need to worry about it. You totally no need to worry about it. This is part and parcel. Now, 3 common mistakes. If you are still at stage 1, 3 common mistakes that commonly traders are making. What are they? Now, first, no trading strategies. What does this mean? For example, I give you some example. Let's say one of the very important component in trading strategies is trading rules. Now, many of you might not have trading rules. Let's say, for example, in Malaysia, we have some traffic rules. So let's say if you're in front of a traffic light, if you see a red light, meaning what? What do you need to do? You need to stop. Am I correct? Even you're Malaysian, no matter what, red light, you need to stop. So if you see green light, then what should you do? You can go, you can drive. So these are all the rules that you need to go in place. But many of the traders, they did not identify their rules. So they do not have a clear boundaries, whether I should buy, whether I can buy, whether should I sell, whether shouldn't I sell. They do not identify their boundaries. So they do not know how to enter the market. They do not know how to exit from the market. So first thing, identifying your trading strategies is very important. So like, for example, just now I mentioned to you, one of the example is one of the very important component in trading strategies is your trading rules. Do you have your trading rules spelled out clearly or not? I repeat, How many of you do have your trading rules spelled out very clearly? You just type what? Yes. I want to see how many of you already have your trading rules in place. You just need to type yes. Put yes. I want to see how many of you have your trading rules in place. Trading rules is just part of the component in trading strategies. So it's very important for you to understand this. Let's wait for a while. How many of you have your trading rules in place? Meaning you define very clearly how do you buy, in what circumstances should you enter the market, in what circumstances you should exit from your market, when you should cut loss, when should you exit, when should you take profit. Do you have or not? Wow, we have Lian Han, yes. Or many of you, yes. Chris, Alvin, you have. For those who do not answer, I assume that you do not have, or you have. You're very shy to answer that. No, this is one of the common mistakes that many of the traders do not have, meaning that you do not have a proper trading strategies. Even worse, if you do not have a strategies, meaning that you do not have a set of strategies. So you really need to identify your trading strategies. And for example, it's a very lengthy to explain about trading strategies, but one of the very important components that you can understand is like your trading rules. That's why I say whether you have a trading rules in place or not. Do you spell out clearly or not? So when you see red light, do you know that you need to stop immediately? You don't need to think about it. If you see green light, you can drive directly. You don't need to think about it. This is all being defined in your trading rules. So first common mistakes is about your trading strategies. You do not define your trading strategies. You do not have your own trading strategies in place, and you do not have your trading plans as well. Now, second common mistake is over trading. What does this mean, over trading? Meaning you trade too much. For example, in futures trading environment, many of you overstretch your margin. You, for example, currently for FKL 4,200, you pay for 4,200, but you are trading 2 contracts. So this is definitely no-no. So you overtrade, and most of the time you have a margin call. And when you are being forced to close, it does not follow your trading plan. So this is the problem. Don't overtrade. Never overtrade. Do you overtrade or not? This is a common mistakes that those at stage 1 making. So when you overtrade, you tend to being forced to close your position because of margin call, and subsequently you are going to suffer losses. So this is another common mistakes that majority of the traders in stage 1 experiencing. Now, the third common mistake is poor execution. For example, poor execution encompasses many areas. One of the example is like maybe you do not have a cut loss, you overconfidence, and sometimes you tend to overtrade, or sometimes you tend to follow your friends. For example, sometimes this is not the time that you need to go in, but you're scared of losing opportunity. That's why you will rush to go into the market. Now, personally, I have one statement, my personal quotes in terms of trading. I also have this quote: losing opportunity is better than losing money. I repeat my statement. My personal quote is losing opportunity is better than losing money. Many of you, sometimes the opportunity is not the times that you can trade, but you still rush to go into the market because you worry you lose out. But sometimes you do not have a proper planning, then you rush into the market, then because you feel good. For example, the recent market rebound, is it a very good rebound? Is it the time for you to go into the market? But some of you, because you see your friends making money and you're not making money, you're so worried about it. That's why when it comes to trading, poor execution contributed to one of the reasons why you're losing a lot of money. We are going to explain in later stage. Don't worry about it. Now, what you can do to progress. For stage 1, stage 1 is more clear cut. Now, how clear cut it is, how do you progress? One thing, go back to your basic rules. I repeat, you just need to go back to your basic rules. What is the basic rules? Basic rules is cutting losses. I repeat, when it comes to trading, 2 very difficult stage that people are going to experience. Unlike these all stages, 2 very difficult stage that people is going to experience. First, cutting losses. Many of the traders after 10 years, they still cannot cut loss. I repeat, many of the traders after 10 years, you will be very surprised that you ask them to cut loss, they will hesitate. Because without cutting losses, they believe that they still have an opportunity. But cutting losses, especially when it comes to trading, is very important. But the second most difficult stage is letting your profit run. Later, we are going to explain. For example, what does this mean that letting your profit runs? For example, if one particular trend, this particular trend got 1,000 points of profit, one trend, if you're making 100 points of profit, can you celebrate? Should you celebrate? I repeat, let's say if one trend is 1,000 points, let's say, for example, end of last year, we have FCPO. Our FCPO from the lowest to the highest, it took us less than maybe 2 months to have a 1,000 points of uptrend. During this uptrend, if you manage to generate 100 points of profit, is this something for you to worth to celebrate or not? These are some things that you need to think about it. So the first stage, majority of the traders couldn't achieve is cutting losses. And second stage is how do you let your profit run? This is very important. So if you can go back to the basic rules of cutting losses, you can survive through this stage. I repeat, so long as you can cut loss without hesitation and you have a proper cut loss rules, surviving this stage is not an issue. Now I show you one thing. Who is this? You can recognize him. Am I correct? I no need to mention about who he is. Now, Warren Buffett have a trading rules. What is his trading rules? Rules number 1, don't lose money. What is rules number 2? Tell me, please. Now, any one of you know what is the rules number 2? We are going to wait for you. Any one of you know what is rules number 2? I believe many of you, your idol is Warren Buffett. Am I correct? So what is rules number 2? Oh, there's a latency. I think there's about a lapse of about 10 seconds for presentation to your answer. Now, what is rules number 2? Rules number 2 is what? Never forget your rule number 1. Some of them, they have rule number 1, don't lose money. Rules number 2, don't lose money. And rule number 3 is what? Never forget your rules number 1 and rules number 2. So at the end of the day, Warren Buffett is not saying that you cannot lose money. That's impossible. All traders, definitely you're going to experience losing money stage. But it's just that at the end of the day, do you manage your risk? I repeat, risk is the definition of losing money in terms of trading for layman terms. So when it comes to these rules, for him, it's just that you need to manage your risk. How do you manage your risk? For example, if the times that you need to cut your loss, you must cut your loss. I repeat, when the times comes, you need to cut your loss, you must cut your loss. If you can follow these rules strictly, for you to progress from rule number 1 to from stage number 1 to stage number 2, you should not have any issue. I repeat, first basic rules. If you can cut your loss without any hesitation and you have a proper cutting losses rules, for you to progress from stage 1 to stage 2, you will not find any issue. So don't worry about it. So stage number 2, we are going to talk about reducing losses. Now, this is the stage that if you can survive from stage 1 to stage 2, definitely you will find a solution because you're aiming not to lose too much. So this is the stage that you need to understand. So what are the challenges and what can you do for you to progress from this stage? Definitely, for example, you can tighten your rules or you can increase your trading rules. I give you an example. For example, just now at stage 1, you already identify your trading rules. Red light, I need to stop. Green light, I can go. But the problem, what if I see a yellow light? What should I do? So when it comes to trading, you'll face with different scenarios. So let's say, for example, you can start to add more rules, trading rules. If I see a yellow light, I should start to get ready to stop. Which Malaysian, we don't do that. Normally, yellow light, you go. You go even faster. So in that sense, you need to start to think about it. Like, for example, I need to have a further trading rules, or I need to increase my trading rules, or I need to redefine my trading rules. So this is one of the ways that you can progress from your stage 2 to stage 3. Now, listen properly. Many of the traders stuck at stage 1 and stage 2. You did not hear it wrongly. Many of them start at stage 1 and stage 2, or else they tend to give up after stage 1 or after stage 2. That's the reason why sometimes you will start to hear from your friends that, hey, don't go to the stock market, don't go to the futures market. You tend to lose money because they stuck at stage 1 and stage 2. That's why when they share with you, they can only share their experience when they are in stage 1 or stage 2. And many of the traders, you did not hear wrongly, many of the traders after stage 1 or stage 2, they tend to give up. So if you manage to progress, before you manage to progress, the keywords for you to progress from stage 2 to stage 3 is always invest and trade your money responsibly. I give you an example. Let's say, for example, today you decided to rent a dog. You have the responsible to walk the dog, to feed the dog, to bathe the dog. If you don't do that, what for? That's why in terms of trading or in terms of investing, please, there's no windfall. There's no windfall profit. You must always work hard to get it. There's no shortcut way, but you can fasten your learning curve, but there's no shortcut way. Please bear in mind. Now, for those who managed to come to stage 3, congratulations, because you're minority. I'm very serious to you. You'll be very surprised because in this industry, it doesn't matter you're in trading, stocks, futures, you're in properties, even you are in business, even you are in any industry. Normally, the rules of 80-20 or even 90-10 is common, meaning that you have 90% of success rate and you have 90% of failure rate. Right now it's too late for me, that's why I tend to speak wrongly. You have 90% of failure rate and you have only 10% of success rate. This is very common. It doesn't matter whether you're in futures, you're in stocks, you're in property investment, or you're in any of the investment, or even in business. You will see this is a common situation. The 90-10 or 80-20 rules is a very common. Nowadays, people tend to follow 90-10 because they couldn't identify the 80-20. So it's very different. So if you manage to go through stage 1 and stage 2 and you fall into stage 3, break even, then you are very good. Congratulations to you. Now, in this stage, what you need to do, there are certain challenges and certain things that you need to do to progress to the next stage. First thing, you need to have your trading journal. Now, many of you do not keep your trading journal, meaning after every trade, do you jot down your trading? Every trade, you identify what is the problem with that particular trade, or what you need to do. How do you overcome? And every time you reread it, these are all part and parcel of your trading journal. Because identify your own weakness is very important. Because, for example, even through learning, you might not able to identify your own weakness. But through your own trading, you will know what kind of weakness that you are going to experience and what should you do. So this is part and parcel of your whole trading journey. So from there onwards, once you identify your own trading weakness, you can progress easily. So trading journal is some things that you can add on at this stage. Subsequently, you need to select what to trade, what not to trade. Not everything that you should trade. Certain things you shouldn't trade. So certain trade, if it's not a good trade, you should not take it. Like for example, in terms of risk and reward ratio, if the risk and reward ratio doesn't fulfill a requirement, you don't trade. Certain trades, even you see that there's a lot of profits that you can take, but if it's not a good trade, don't trade. So certain trades, you need to identify whether should you progress or not. So if you can go into this trade, I repeat my statement now, from stage 1 to stage 3, actually you can copy and paste other people's trading strategies. Now, stage 4 onwards will let you understand that from this stage onwards, you shouldn't copy other people's strategies. But stage 1 to stage 3, there are some things that you can do, is meaning that if you do not know how to start, at least you can copy other people's strategies. You can copy other people's system. Then from that onwards, you will know how to progress. Because sometimes if you are going to start with scratch, it's very difficult. So this first stage, second stage, and third stage, if you ask my personal opinion, I would encourage you to go and copy other people's trading strategies. And from there, only you modify. I give you an example, a layman example. If today I ask you to cook a food, you might know how to cook. For example, curry. You might know how to cook. So you go to YouTube, you watch other people, how do they cook? You copy their recipe. Then from there onwards, once you cook for the first time, second time, then subsequently you find that, hey, I know what kind of smell or what kind of taste that I like. Maybe I should reduce a bit of the sugar or I should reduce a bit of the salt. So from there onwards, then you start to modify your trading strategies from others. So it's good that from stage 1 to stage 3, you copy other people's trading strategies. Now let's move to stage 4. Maybe CY, you can take over from here for stage 4.
Okay, sure. Now, stage 3 is about you are moving 5 steps forward and 5 steps backwards. So your net position is there is no progress from stage 3. Now, whereas for stage 4, you are actually moving 5 steps forward and then 4 steps back. So which means you're actually 1 step further closer to your goals. Yes.
CY, right now it's 9 something already. You're going to confuse that. You continue, don't worry.
So in making little profit, you're actually having a little bit of small gains where you can see that your portfolio is actually growing bit by bit. And it is over a series of trade where you can see, well, over a course of weeks or months, you can see your profits. Overall, your profits are actually small, but you're actually making progress. You're actually moving one step forward, one step forward. And that's where you can see that you already have a well-defined trading strategies and systems. And this is where you are building good trading habits, where you're practicing some basic risk management strategies. You are practicing some good money management strategies. So the challenge here is that, most traders have already got some good trading strategies in stage 4. And their challenge is that they don't know what they do best and what they should eliminate. I repeat, they don't know what they do best and what they should eliminate. So which means they should do more of what works and do less of what doesn't work. So you need to do trade more on those strategies that works for you personally, which has a higher probability of winning, and do trade less of those strategies that has lower probability of winning. So what you can do to progress to the next stage would be, here's where you can start building on your strengths. So here you would need to continuously refining your trading strategies and system. Keep refining. And here you can add more good trading strategies, more good trading setups, so that you can know, well, if these strategies work across 10 trades, if it works 9 out of 10, I will use this trade. If strategy B, if it works 4 times out of 10 times, well, maybe probably that's a strategy that I will need to trade less of. So that's where you will be moving forward into stage 5. So stage 4, you would also need to personalize your trading strategies and systems to fit your personality. And here you can build more structured and systematic trading plan so that you can move up to stage 5, which is having a more consistent profit. So in stage 5, you are actually showing consistency of good trading behaviors. Here you are actually, you are following your trading rules very strictly. So, which is where you can have consistent profit where, there is a formula where you are doing it over again and again, and it produces consistent result. So here, the consistency of good trading behaviors, like you follow your trading rules, knowing when to enter and when to exit. You're practicing good cut loss strategies. You're managing the risk competently, and you are having good practice of good money management. So all of these that you have already, you can see you are building up a good trading system which only personalized to your personality. And well, if you want to grow from stage 5 and beyond, the challenge here would be actually getting bigger. So which means you will need to trade bigger, you will need to take more good calculated risk on your best trading strategies. So how do you go from stage 5 to going up further? So beyond stage 5 is actually scaling up your profit. So scaling up here means that you would need to trade bigger. So from stage 5 onwards and beyond, you need to have a growth mindset. You need to keep growing. You need to stretch your boundaries, stretch your limits. So here is that those traders who are very, very elite, or they are making very, very big money, they are actually, their mentality would be they want to improve their game. They keep thinking ways of how can I improve this game? How can I stretch my personal limits and taking extra calculated good risk so that I can make more money? Well, right. So that's where they keep refining their own trading strategies. It is the same thing, but they are master of doing same thing over again and again. They keep refining to the finest point where they are trading big on their best strategies, as well as trading less of their those strategies that doesn't profit that well. So here's where they would improve their game, expand their best trade setups, and take those good risks on their best strategies. And here's where they can increase their trading size and take more risk on those good setups. Here's where, in fact, I believe that this is where the challenge of most traders is actually want to make even more money, which is getting from stage 1 up to stage 4, stage 5, and beyond. So here I will pass it back to you, Ting Ting.
So this is a summary for all the stage. So for those who are experienced stage ones, like just now what we mentioned, for stage 1, if you are in stage 1, what you need to do to progress to stage 2, you just need to follow whatever we covered for you. Then from stage 2, for those who are in stage 2, you just need to hold on and never give up. Then you need to move to stage 3 as per what we advised to you. Then along the way, scale all the way to stage 5, and subsequently you scale big. So once you have a consistent profit, the next things that you need to do, as per Siwa mentioned, is just that you need to increase your position. So from there onwards, that only you increase your position. Now the keywords for these all 5 stages, right? Please do not expect to jump the stage. Meaning, if you are at stage 1, you need to make a progress to stage 2. You need to experience stage 2. Then only you aim to experience stage 3. Then subsequently from stage 3, you aim to experience and going into stage 4. Don't ever think of jumping the stage. Very important. You should not jump the stage.